Welcome to chapter 13, Analysis and Interpretation. Uh, so now we finished talking about all the designs, the research design. We spent a bit of time from chapter 8 all the way through chapter 12 talking about different designs from um, surveys, correlation study, quasi experiment to single case study to experimental design, which has within subject, between subject and factorial designs. We spend those chapters talking about those. Now we going away. Once now technically you're done with your research, with your methodology. You're gonna go into how are we gonna analyze those data that we have. Okay, so that's what chapter 13 is, looking at your data, how we can analyze that. And we kind of been talking about the idea along the way with each chapter, what you're going to be using, what kind of statistical analysis you're going to be using to analyze those data. But kind of going back to the basic, this is technically should be a review for you, literally from your stat class. These are like the basic information. Okay. So the first one we're going to talk about is called descriptive study. Descriptive study is the basic study. You basically just summarizing the data and trying to make sense of what it means, to see actually just kind of seeing an overall picture of those data to see what it looks like. You're not really doing anything fancy to the data. You're just kind of seeing what's going on. What's going on here? Anything that's there that might be interesting. You just kind of want to see overall picture of the data, what that is. So descriptive. So think of it like describing what the data is, describing the study, the data that you have. Okay. So this and descriptive usually is describing it, and you could see here what's all that include in descriptive, like all the normal stuff that first thing you learn in your statistic class, your mean, your median, your mode, variance, and standard deviation. All of these are considered descriptive statistic, just kind of basic stuff that we all learn. Okay, and that's what you're going to show. That's all you're going to show. Let's say if you do a survey based on certain things, and you're going to show the means, the median, the mode, the variance, and the standard deviation of that surveys. And that's all you're going to do. You're not comparing anything else. You're just kind of just finding out the data to see what you got there. And people could do, usually this is kind of, think of it like opening doors to that idea or that issue. You're just kind of testing out the water to see what that surface of that issue is about, and then you want to kind of explore more later on in the future research. Okay. So this would be the descriptive statistics, looking at the basic. And you, from the descriptive statistic, this is something very important for most people we recommend to do, is looking at the frequency tables. And you could actually do a frequency table, and you could do frequency graphs as well, to see how often those things actually occur in the class. So let's say people who score 90%, range from the exam score. Let's see, these are the exam score. You get first person get 90%, second person 59, 64, so on and so forth. You could actually arrange them into a frequency table like this, looking at, okay, from 90 to 99, how many people actually have 90 to 99? Oh, there's 3 people that have in this class have 90 to 99. How many people are between 80 to 89? It's 5 people. So on and so forth. 70 to 79, that's 6 people. So you could actually put this in a graph format as well. So those are what we call frequency distribution table, looking at these tables, so how often things are occur. Okay, and you could put it in a graph as well. Okay, frequency graph to see how often things occur, and then this is what it looks like, what the histogram would look like. Histogram is actually the best way to represent the frequency frequency table. Okay, how often things occur at different interval. Okay. Please distinguish between the histogram and the bar graph. Bar graph is another type of frequency table as well. But bar graph is more specific, usually oftentimes used in a specific category, a specific group. So let's say you have 3 groups that you are doing, psychology, education, and biology group, or you could do a control group, not control group, but let's say your data found out that there's people who choose strawberry versus chocolate. Let's say you do a survey on food. Some people prefer chocolate, some people prefer strawberry, some people prefer vanilla. So you could actually break them down into these categories. Remember, histogram here doesn't actually show the category like this. Okay, histogram showed the range of people. Traffic stop 0 to 2. So this is from 0 to 2 traffic stop. 3, which is 3 to 5. So this is the range. So range how often things occur in certain intervals. So do not mix these together. Okay, you either do a bar chart or you're gonna do a histogram chart. There are differences in between both. And there's a pie chart as well to see total people, how many percentage of people are in each. Let's say, for example, this one would be in each major. How many people in each major? And this one saying there's 68% of the people, 68 people, which is let's see, psychology, which is 45% of people who actually are in psychology major. 30% of in education and 25% in biology major. Okay, so yay, go psychology. So okay, so this is what the pie chart represents, is percentage of people that you study. There's other way to test this out as well. Like you could see the basic stuff that you learned before: the mean, the median, and the mode. So please review those. And this definition hasn't really changed from your previous stats book, so it's all the same, pretty much. Mean is the average. You sum all of your score by a number of participants or samples, and you will get the mean. Okay. And the mean usually is the middle part of this graph here. This is the distribution graph, the normal distribution. You have the small one, and this is what we call bell-shaped curve. Bell-shaped curve graph. The right in the middle, that's the average. What is the mean is? Okay, the median is referred to the middle values of your data. If you line up all your data together, what is the middle value of that? And the mode is does the most often occur, the data set, which is what is the highest point of the frequency, which is what number is the most often keep reoccurring over and over again. Okay. And if you remember way back, we talked about in the first few weeks, we talked about these type of measurement scale: the interval, the ratio, the ordinal, which is the order, and nominal. So, and you could see how it's represented for each one. Okay. So we also want to calculate the variance too as well, the sample variance. What the variance does is actually represent the deviation of your distance, so how far things are going from one level to the next level. Okay, and there's ways to discuss calculate variance, and you could see the equation here, which using the sum of square and then also degree of freedom to actually calculate the variance. For this class, again, it's not really a statistic class, it's just something that you might want to keep in mind, and I'm not making any of you to calculate these out, so you don't really have to calculate out any sum of square or the variance or anything like that. Even this lovely thing called standard deviation, which is the normal distribution size. So what is your normal distribution would be. Okay, Um, so technically speaking, when you have a bell-shaped curve, your mean is here, your mean is right in the middle. To consider to be significant, which is kind of normal population, that's what we consider is normal folks. You would have the 2 standard deviation. You have the first group here, which is right in the middle. These are the really truly average folk, and this is the second folk would be the second standard deviation. Okay, so it would be here to here. This would be the second standard deviation. So anyone that's outside of this group, anyone outside of this, any number that's outside of this 2 standard deviation, we consider they are significant, really significant into that. Okay, so we are saying that within 2, you look at the percentage, within 2 standard deviation, 95% of population kind of lying in between this 2 standard deviation. Within this 2 standard deviation, 95% of population kind of line within there. So anything that's here only represents, this side is 2.5, and then this side is another 2.5. So each side only represents 2.5 of population. So we consider that fairly small, and we consider fairly significant, because if you're outside of that, you probably kind of furthest away from being normal, or whatever that normal group would be. For instance, when we test our IQ, your mean for your IQ would be 100. So when we do IQ test, the mean is the 100, and then anything below 80 or 60, we consider that down here, which is we oftentimes call mental retardations. So we consider that's not a normal group. Okay, that's the main reason why we do the IQ test, is to test kids who actually kind of below this line, the 80 line, which is here. Anything below 80, we are concerned, and in anything truly below 60, which is this line, the 3 standard deviation, they really have a problem. Okay, and struggling with school. On the other end, on the top end, you could actually also see that as well. So people who above 120 considered to be geniuses. Those are smart people. And anyone who's above even 140 or 160, they are extremely smart. Okay, people would be very few here. Those guys make up less than 0.3% of the population, which means that they are, on each side is only 0.15 on each side. Okay, 0.15 that they're representing. Very small amount of people. So you want to graph out the correlations as well when you're doing correlation study. You want to graph out your correlation to see whether it's a positively correlated or negatively correlated between the 2 variables. Okay, and the other test we could do to test internal consistency is called Cronbach alpha. Cronbach alpha is to test to see whether there is a reliability and consistency there with the rater, with also the surveys, how to test, and validity of the test as well. Okay, and that's kind of general idea for chapter 12. Thank you for watching, and I'll see, chapter 13, sorry, and I'll see you in the next video.